Good morning. Granny Cat here. I wanted to talk about slavery, about how people are treated in this country, and how similar the attitudes are about people of color or people who are different. I don't know if you all have ever heard of Bass Reeves. Okay, he was a black lawman, and they used his story to inspire the Lone Ranger, who was about as white can be. Is that right? But yeah, when Will Smith did a movie of the Wild Wild West, everybody got ticked because he was a black man playing the role that was originally of a white person. But, oh, it's okay to do it the other way around, isn't it? Hmm? Or when The Little Mermaid, when they got a black girl, or I don't really know if she's of African descent, but a brown-skinned girl to play Ariel. Oh, gosh, that's horrible. Well, mermaids aren't even real anyway, so what difference does it make what color her skin is? I would have been happy if they'd have made her green or blue or, like some tropical fish. You know how there's some really pretty colors. Anyway, did you know that black people were forced to fight in the Confederacy? That they were forced to fight against the North, who was fighting for their freedom? So they were slaves still, who were forced to fight in the Civil War against their own freedom. Is that white privilege or what? Let's look at history a little bit. People say, oh, why do they still keep whining today? The slavery stuff is over. But obviously racism isn't over, and now it's reawakened worse than ever. Why? And then the Republicans go around calling us haters. They don't like homosexuals. They don't like Spanish. They don't like blacks. They don't like anybody who's not like them. But you know something? They may have indigenous blood in them. They may have in their ancestry black blood in them. They may have Spanish blood in them, and they don't even know it. Because it makes no difference. You know what makes a difference? Upbringing. You want to teach your kids hate against blacks, against homosexuals, against women? Because there's a lot of hate against women, too. And if you're a black woman or a Spanish woman, it's even worse. And don't tell me it don't exist. I see it everywhere. And now it's back, bigger than ever. Let's not hate. Don't turn people into slaves again. And, speaking of slavery, the corporate leaders found a way to keep slavery alive in their factories. Children, people who worked 14 to 16-hour days and then went home and slept and then went right back to work, hardly even had time to eat. And they probably didn't even let them have a lunch break, I doubt. Because when I moved to New Hampshire, there were a lot of weird things going on. I worked at a woolen mill, and we were told that we don't get lunch break. Well, me being the person that I am, I called the Department of Labor and said, hey, isn't it against the law to stop people from having a break during work? And they told me, I don't remember the exact ones, but we are supposed to be able to take 2 15-minute breaks and 1 half-hour break or something along those lines. Or maybe an hour-long break. Well, I went to the owner of Door Woolen Mill at the time and told him all about it. And guess what? We got breaks. Yeah, sure, I'm not Norma Ray. But I did do a few little things here and there. And you know something? I can't believe that in the 80s, there was a place still working under those conditions. Yeah, they couldn't make us work over 8 hours a day, but they thought they were getting away with making us not take a lunch break. Well, they have a bell that sounds off the lunch. Of course, Dorwellen is not even work. You know, they don't even operate anymore. The place went out of business because in the 80s, all the corporate leaders brought the factories overseas. And now they're saying that the outsiders are taking all the jobs. No, they only got jobs that the white people don't want. Let's get back to that, because that is the whole subject right here. Corporate leaders have gotten everybody to believe that the Spanish people who come into this country from Mexico are taking all the jobs. No, the people don't want jobs, okay? There's a lot of Americans that would rather not work at all as they go around dragging their feet saying, oh, all the Spanish and people from Mexico have taken all the jobs. That's why I don't have a job. Liar. Liar. Your pants are on fire. On the other hand, there are people that do become woke. And I hear people say, oh, what's all that woke stuff? That's bull. It's not. Because sometimes people get a revelation. People get a revelation that they shouldn't hate. People get a revelation. Sometimes it might be that somebody gets a revelation because they get a child that is of mixed race and they love that child so much and they say, why? Why have I been like that? And honestly, I get goosebumps just talking like that because I have a friend who did that. And he was one of the ones complaining about the word woke. And when I told him what it meant, he said, that's what I did with my grandchild. He said, I realized that I shouldn't be racist. I know I'm getting a little teary-eyed here because hatred is not worth it. Hatred causes wars. Hatred causes division. Hatred causes families to break up. It's not worth it. It's really not worth it to hate. It's not worth it to turn this country into a country of racists. Racism was dying until Trump became president in his first term. And now it's worse than ever. If we're going to fight anything, instead of fighting each other, let's fight racism. Please. Love you.